Joining us now is Anne Applebaum, a Pulitzer Prize winner and staff writer at The Atlantic. Anne, it's great to see you here in America on set. Let me just first get your kind of reaction to the alleged drone attack by the Ukrainians in Moscow.
So the Russians, having lied about so much for so long, really have no credibility. So whoever they think it is or whoever they say it is, nobody's going to believe it. It is true that the Ukrainians have become interested recently in provocations, in trying to underline and emphasize some of the political divisions in Moscow. But this is a very strange event. I mean, why would you send a drone to kill Putin in the Kremlin when he doesn't live there? In the middle of the night. So it seems more like it was something, it reflects something going on in Russia.
And you pointed this out on Twitter, that it is an insane moment that, at the onset of this war, the expectation was Ukraine would just be destroyed in a matter of days. And now we're talking about Ukraine allegedly launching drone offensives in Moscow.
The Russians have air defenses all around the Kremlin now. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be like the war, as you say, was supposed to be over in 3 days, 6 weeks at the outset. And instead, we have the Russians, fighting with one another, worrying about drones, faking or not faking. It's now focused on themselves. I mean, it's now a battle inside Moscow over the war.
I was riveted by your reporting from what's happening inside Ukraine, and we excerpted that passage because it's such a testimony to how nimble and unusual the Ukrainian fighting forces are. And I wonder if you could tell me a little bit more about your your expectations going in and what you saw and how that squared with those expectations.
So everybody expected this war, as the defense minister said to us, to be a war between a big Soviet army and a small Soviet army. And what we didn't realize is that over the last 8 years, since 2014, the Ukrainians have completely remade their army, and it's to do with waves of volunteers. And so it's people from the tech industry, people who are working in Silicon Valley who came home, young people entering the army, and they have completely transformed it in all kinds of odd ways. So it doesn't work the way our army works. So we went, for example, to a drone workshop. Yeah. And a drone workshop is a room kind of the size of this one, with tables, and on the tables there's kind of bits of glue and wire, and there's a 3D printer in the corner, and there's literally what look like styrofoam paper airplanes, and they attach munitions to them and they send them over the border.
At one point they're saying these drones are used for photographing wedding ceremonies, right? They're retrofitting
these are the kind of thing you order to photograph your wedding ceremony, but they've remade them into weapons. And that's, of course, the low end of what they do. Yeah. There's a much more sophisticated level as well. They use really the most modern, sophisticated military software that's ever been used, is being used right now in Ukraine. I mean, at the same time, they still have weapons look left over from the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in the 80s. So it's a very big mix. And I think one of the reasons why we found it so hard to predict what would happen is that it's not an army that looks either like what we thought it would look like, nor really like anything else. I mean, it's kind of partisan volunteer army, pulling in whatever it can from wherever it can. And so far it's working.
So resourceful, but not entirely which is to say entirely dependent in some ways on American support. And how much fear did you sense that the Ukrainians were worried about America giving up on support for the war? I mean, we've been talking about Tucker Carlson. We know that Zelensky called Rupert Murdoch or Lachlan Murdoch to try and gin up more enthusiasm among some of the fiercest critics of this war. I mean, is there a recognizable sense that America is cooling in its ardor to fight this thing?
So I don't think they're worried right now. I think the Biden administration isn't cooling at all. Actually, there was another aid package announced today. But yes, they think long term. They think down the line. Of course, they're worried about the U.S. elections. Of course, they're worried about what happens if Biden loses. And they're thinking about what could happen down the line. And they do spend a lot of time talking to Republicans, talking to critics. Zelensky tries to find a lot of different places to speak, where he speaks at music festivals sometimes, and he speaks at universities, because he's trying to reach more than just, he understands this is a democracy and he wants to reach the public and not just the leadership. But they do know that, and that's why. But I think they accurately also understand that this is really a war not just for their territory. Yes. That it's a war for a way of life. It's a war for the respect for borders. It's a war for all of our rules about human rights. about laws of war, and he wants to explain that to people. And I think when he does do it, he's very convincing.
Well, and I think you can feel, even from here, the passion, the sense of principle that Ukrainians are fighting this war with. And that is such a sharp contrast to the Russians who've been conscripted, who clearly don't want to fight this war, who have to be dragged into it and forced into it, a war for nothing in a lot of presumably the eyes of Russians.
Yeah, no, it's a clash of two systems. I mean, and as I said, it's not just an ideological clash. These are societies that are organized in a different way. And the Ukrainians would look like us in more ways than you would think.